Hi, this is Kevin Hensel, owner of Fit for Life, and I'm here. I want to show you guys some great ways to get rid of muscle and joint pain. One of the best ways to do it is to do what we call self-massage, or in the industry we call it self-myofascial release. I have some cool little toys right behind me that I want to show you how to do that with, and don't worry, normally I don't wear a wife beater t-shirt, but for some of the things I want to show you, I want you to see as much as possible, so that's why I'm kind of wearing this ridiculous little get-up here. So I want to get into it right away and show you a great little 5 to 10 minute routine you can do. Self-myofascial release is great if you're in joint pain or muscle pain and you just don't want to have any muscle or joint pain. It's a great warm-up to do pre-workout, and if it's an exceptionally tough workout, you can also do it post-workout, and you can also just do it throughout the day if you just get a little tight. There's no great time to do it, but pre is a great warm-up as well to help prevent any kind of joint issues during the workout, and you can also do it after to prevent any issues you might have coming after the workout. So one of the best ways we're going to get started with this is some of the basic ground rules of self-myofascial release is basically you want to not release, you can release the muscles that attach to a joint, but never release on top of a joint. So if you have knee pain, you can't release your kneecap. If you have back pain, you can't release your vertebrae. So you don't want to put pressure on those areas. And basically what we're going to be doing is everybody has these little muscular knots. They're little adhesions that basically glue muscle fibers together. And we get them because of previous injuries, postural imbalances, repetitive stress, being behind a desk all day. And over time, those knots start to create irritation. They can cause arthritis, bursitis, tendonitis, and those inflammatory conditions that get created over time can create to that joint muscle pain. So we want to break up that scar-like tissue little knots that get in there. So we want to break them up. So the only way to do that is by putting pressure on them. It's kind of like deep tissue massage, acupressure, they sometimes call it as well. But there's some great things you can do at home to get the same benefit. And like I said, I have a whole bunch of little toys here, and each toy kind of works in different spots. So we're going to get right into it. And as we're going through, I'm going to tell you which ones are best for which kind of joint problems that you might have, or joint issues, or just some general areas that you want to get a little bit looser in. So first I want to start with is the calf. You have the upper part of your calf, the big juicy part up here is called the gastrocnemius, and as it tapers down and gets smaller into the Achilles tendon, which is way back down here, this is called your soleus, and these are classic knot spots. So anybody that has plantar fasciitis, flat feet, shin splints, we have to release the calf. So one of the best things I like to use is the good old trusty, this is a little 12-inch foam roller. Basically, you're going to put your foot right up on top, and what we're going to do is we're going to roll the entire length of your calf first and find an area, what they call it it's really kind of a hot spot, and people go, well, how will I know? If you don't know, you're not on it, because it's pretty excruciating when you get on a hot spot. So basically what you're going to do is I always like to get a little bit more pressure, so I'm going to lift my butt up in the air, but it's totally okay if you can't. But basically what we're going to do is we're just going to roll from to my Achilles tendon, way down here, and then we're going to roll up to the beefier part of my calf, just below my knee. Don't go to your knee, but just below your knee. So we're just going to roll. I'll scoot back a little bit so you can see everything. Just going to be here to here. And you might want to, in the beginning, you want a softer surface. Like this is a foam roller, so this is nice to start with. I have a PVC pipe that I use too, because I've been doing this for a really long time, I can use this PVC pipe, so that works really well. Sometimes I don't like using tennis balls or softballs for this because they kind of squirm around too much and the knots in your calf can be a little squirmy. But you can use a little something called a Theracane, and I'll show you that in a second. But to get more pressure, you don't always just need to get something harder. You can always just put this foot on top, raise your butt up in the air, and the key to the calf is to point your toes inside and outside, because when you point your toes, you hit different parts of the calf, the upper part, the gastroc, and the lower part, the soleus. And I guarantee everybody who's watching has a huge knot on the inner part of their calf, this is called the medial head of your gastrocnemius, and this gets super knotty. If you have flat feet, you're gonna have a knot here. If you get those cramps and those crazy cramps you get sometimes in the calf, I guarantee it's in that medial head. I can feel mine right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my pressure, put my other foot right on top, point my toe inward, isolate the little sucker, and when we find the spot, the hot spot, that's the one that's the most tender, because you want, like I said, roll the entire length and find the areas that are most sensitive, put pressure on the most sensitive spots for 30 seconds. So now I'm in a juicy spot, I hold 30 seconds, doop, 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 doop. We'll time warp 30 seconds, and then it slowly releases. Is it magic? Is it going to totally disappear in a day? No, it takes time. It can be quite painful when you first start. So just know, as you do it, as it loosens up, it will get less and less painful. So it takes a little while to get there. And what you want to do, remember, point the toe in and out. You'll have some evil spots on the inside and outside, and know that the right and the left are going to be different. You have foot mechanics are going to be a little different. One foot's a little flatter than the other, I'm sure. And all those things will create different variations in your right and left. So you might not always get the same spots on the right side or on the left. So just adjust. That's it. So make sure, like I said, anybody who has plantar fasciitis, flat feet, any kind of issues with your shins, shin splints, release the crap out of your calves. It makes a huge difference. And like I said, start with a foam roller, build up to the PVC, and then what I like is a little something that's called a Theracane. Don't mind my little pooch back there. She might come down and cause trouble, I'm sure, when I get to the tennis ball section. But what I do, it's called a Theracane. You can get these online, Amazon.com, about 30, 40 bucks depending on where you go. You can get cheap and a little lower, about 25 bucks. But what's cool about it, it has all these kind of little nubs. And I like these two nubs right here for the calf. So I just kind of use this. Yep, there she goes, eating my tennis balls. So we're gonna be right here. I go right to that inner part of the calf, that big super knot, and I'm just kind of digging it in with this, and I just use the weight of my hand here, just scooting on down. So yeah, I knew my dog was gonna eat my tennis balls. So just be careful if you've got a pooch floating around. They might definitely try to take advantage. So like I said, find a knot, hold 30 seconds, and try to pick 2 or 3 knots only, because I guarantee you can spend all day on your calves. You're gonna have a million of them. Pick the 3 worst, release those. 20 to 30 seconds is the optimal release time. Holding it longer won't necessarily make it happen faster, and release it once. Don't keep hitting the same spot over and over again. Hit the one spot, move 1 to 2 inches above or below, and you're done. Don't keep releasing. She stole my ball. So I'll have to steal one of hers in a second, so she's going upstairs to get rid of me because she's tired of me talking. So the calves is the first place to start. The next is I want to get to anybody who has knee pain, has any meniscus problems, ACL tears, ruptures, and all those fun things. We want to do some releasing of the outer portion of your quadricep and your IT band. Your IT band is a strip, and your vastus lateralis is a part of your quadricep. It's a strip of muscle that goes really attaches into the side of your knee and comes all the way up into the top of your hip, into the greater trochanter, which is top of the muscle, and top of the bone. So we want to release this whole stretch here. So once again, start with foam roller. A little softer, a little squishier, then maybe develop into my evil PVC pipe. And if you ever get a PVC and it's just too pressure, put some big socks on it. Socks will help soften it up a little bit. And if you do it on a, I have a little yoga mat here. That little squishy mat will also help absorb some of the shock as well. But on a firm surface, this can be pretty darn evil. So let's just start with this. So we're gonna be here. I want to be propped up on my elbow, and then I'm gonna roll on out. Remember, I wanna go from really right above my knee, like a ½ inch above my knee, all the way to my hip. And the key to this is rotate a little forward and a little back to hit different fibers. You can't just roll straight up and down, because I guarantee when you roll forward, you're gonna go, oh God, that wasn't there when I was straight up like this. So make sure you rotate a little forward, going from here to here. And I have a million of them, believe me, I'm just trying to hold it in and look cool here, but this is excruciating. But like I said, I'm a bigger fan of my PVC pipe for this, to be perfectly honest, because I'm kind of so used to doing this. And I get a little lazy too. I hate being propped up on my elbow for so long. And some people hate that. I like to kind of lay down and relax a little bit. So what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna use my baseball. A baseball works well, softball might be a little too big for this, and a tennis ball if you're just starting. But I like to lay down. That's a little better. You can't see it too well because it's just right here. That's why I'm trying, for demonstration purposes, it doesn't work well. But a baseball goes, like I said, right above the knee. You don't have to be propped up on your elbow. I'm hitting some good spots now. I rotate a little forward. If I want to put a little more pressure, I put that top leg right on top. That puts a lot more weight going into it, so it's a lot more pressure. Like I said, you roll that full length, find the 2, maybe 3 worst spots, and then you just move on. And don't keep releasing the same spot over and over again. 20, 30 seconds, your max, move on. And like I said, you're gonna find a million knots. Understand that, know that, and just pick the 3 worst. 2 or 3 worst, move to the next spot. Do the right side, then do the left. Now there is another one, and this is called, it's for your hip flexor. It's a little strip, and anybody who has low back pain or sits at their office all day long, this can make a big difference to relieve some low back pain and low back stress. is a little strip. It's like right here. It's a little hip flexor. It's a little weird for me to show you with this because this isn't very big and you probably won't see it very much with my big soft, my big baggy shorts here. So I'll do the best I can. So basically, you're putting it right here. Like I said, here's my pocket. Like put it right where your pocket would be. Here's my pocket. Gonna do that. I'm gonna have to rotate a little bit to get a little bit of weight going down into it. I'm not sure if you can see it very well from the video just because my shorts are a little baggy. But you wanna hold this. You want to roll up, down, and remember, see how I'm rotating a little bit to get different spots? And this isn't hard, my body's really on the ground. I'm not really supporting my body weight. If this is too much pressure, start with a tennis ball. Tennis ball works really well, but you wouldn't see the tennis ball at all. In this particular instance, let me just see if you can give it a little bit more visual, but basically right there. It's right where your pocket would be. You want to hold that for 20-30 seconds, find an evil spot, hold. 20-30 seconds, it will release. The next spot I want to get to is I want to use, okay, so what we're going to do next is it's a butt cheek muscle. Anybody who has low back pain, any kind of disc herniation, rupture, bulge in your lumbar area of your back, or more a sciatic pain, this is going to be key. Once again, start with a tennis ball, work up to a baseball, then maybe dig into a softball. That's kind of the progression. So, like I said, the tennis ball squishes so much you won't even see it. So what I'll do is I'll use my little baseball here. You can use a foam roller, but it's so big. And it just doesn't dig in enough. You want something in your butt cheek that's gonna dig in a little bit. I know that sounds horrible, but you kind of do. So you want a baseball. So let's put this away for right now. So let's use that baseball. Basically, I'm just gonna be here. I'm not lifting, I don't need to lift my butt up. I don't need this, by the way. My butt can stay right on the ground. I'm just gonna roll here. If you wanna roll down a little bit, get a little more space. I'll try to so you can see where I'm going, but basically where I'm going is right here. There's a little strip of muscle here to here. It's called my gluteus medius, and this can get really tight and knotty and also get really weak as well. And it's just right there. So I'm putting it right there. I'm just going to lean over, and logistically speaking, I don't really even need to put my body weight into it. I can just do this and squirm a little bit and rotate my hips a little bit this way and a little bit that way. You can start with your legs straight, find out some areas that work. Like I said, you might not see it so well with my shorts. I'm going to try to pull them so you can see a little bit, but it's just right here. I'm just rotating a little bit, here to here, roll up and down a little bit. Like I said, the strip is like right to the tip, bottom of my butt cheek, little strip right here. Not on your SI joint, which is your sacroiliac joint. Do not go on your tailbone. And a lot of things with releasing is you don't go exactly where you feel the pain. You can't release where all these muscles and tendons attach. You can release the muscle fibers and the muscle bellies that attach to these little tendons and attach to the areas of joint pain. So like I said, if your knee hurts, you don't release your kneecap. If your low back hurts, you don't put the tennis ball or something jammed into your vertebrae because it hurts like hell and it won't help you at all. You want to release the muscles that attach to the sensitive spots. So don't ever release something that hurts, like that you feel rawness, numbness, and tingling down into your kneecap or you're right on your low back. You want to attack the areas that attach to them. So with your low back, all the areas that attach to your low back are your gluteus minimus, your gluteus medius, your spinal erectors, which we'll show you those in a second. So we're just here, rolling around, skirting into little spots in my booty. And then to get different spots, you want to cross your legs like this. Just crossing my left ankle onto my right knee. So this one I like to get a little bit up a little bit more. And we're just going to be here to here. You can also do it this way. The more angled I am, the more intense this gets, because now my whole booty is on that little ball. And like I said, a bigger ball, like a softball, would be a little bit easier for you. So I'm just rolling around. I want to find a spot. Don't release your hip bone, because once you go on a bone, believe me, you'll get off real quick, because that's real painful. And I'm just rotating my hip a little bit to the right, to the left. I'm moving up and down a little bit. There's a little spot you're going to know when you cross your leg like this, it opens up a muscle called your piriformis. And this muscle can be very pivotal with anybody with sciatic pain. So like I said, start with a tennis ball, move up to a baseball, then maybe a softball. Great tool. Piriformis, release a lot of low back pain or any kind of sciatic irritation, which you know is tingling down the back of your leg into your calf. It can cause foot pain as well. So that's the booty. That's low back issues. Some other great ones for low back. My dog stole my other tennis ball, so I have to steal one of hers, which is way back over here. So now I got two. And what the key is here is you want to basically place them, like, not together. You want the balls about an inch, maybe an inch apart, so you can run the muscles that go on the side of your back here. They're called your spinal erectors, so here to here, but not on your vertebrae. You don't want them on your spinal column, for God's sakes, because that's not going to help you at all. So what I do is, what you can do is you can put them in a sock. If you put your tennis balls in a sock, that will kind of keep them fixed. But for our purposes here, I'm just going to put them together, separate them slightly, and I'm just laying on them. Don't want to be on your tailbone. Like an inch above your tailbone is great, and that's where a lot of tension can happen with these spinal erector muscles. That's where they attach right into your hip bone. So we're going to just, remember, we're going to roll through the length of it. I'm inchworming down. I know you can't see this, but I'm just kind of inchworming my way down, finding the areas that are the most sensitive. And when I find those sensitive areas, I'm like, oh, there it is. You can pull your legs in. That will give a little bit more pressure, push down into the tennis ball, and just hold. Remember, 20 to 30 second hold. Classic areas, and like I said, it might be a little tougher on the right versus the left, depending on which hip is a little higher, which for most people, it's your right hip is slightly elevated, which will create more tension in the right side of your back muscles and more weakness in the left side. So you want to hold them. Now what we're going to do is, because I want to get into my shoulder blades, because this is where a lot of people hold a lot of neck and shoulder stress. And people don't realize, but a lot of rotator cuff problems that people get can have, a lot of the issues are in their shoulder blade region. So especially with people who are rounded shouldered all day at work behind the desk. So I'm going to place them basically about a ½ inch apart from each other. What you want to do is basically, I'm right now at the bottom of my shoulder blades. I don't know how well you can see. I'll try to angle a little bit so you can see them a little bit better where the tennis balls are, but they're at the lower portion of my shoulder blade. And what you have to do to get behind your shoulder blades is you have to hold your head, hands behind, and elbows tight together. You don't have to have your elbows touch, but when I'm like this, my shoulder blades are now closed and I can't get to the little evil muscles behind the shoulder blades. And these muscles are called your rhomboids. And those areas are really tight. So you want to basically grab your head, bring your elbows closer together to open up your shoulder blades to get the muscles behind the shoulder blades. So we're here. We're going to roll down and up a little bit. Like I said, basically from your bottom of your shoulder blade all the way to the top of my shoulder blade. And ooh, there's some good stuff in there right now. I can hear it crunching. And like I said, if it gets too annoying and the balls are rolling all over the place, just put them in a sock, like a ½ inch apart. It will help lock them into place so the balls don't constantly scoot all over the place and you're searching around the room all the time looking for them. So I'm here, I'm finding I'm right at the upper edge. You're going to notice a lot of knots in the upper edge of your shoulder blade. So that's where you want to hold. That's where I'm going to hold. So I'm going to go 1, 2, get up to 20 or 30 seconds, scoot down a little bit more, find my evil spots. Like I said, the 2 to 3 most tender spots. We're good. Go in there. Good stuff. These ones between your shoulder blades can be pretty evil. So a lot of people, you can do this up against the wall, but like I said, you kind of need a sock. And you might need a really long sock, so you can put them behind your back and kind of lean into the wall. You can do it at the office too. But it does look a little weird if you have a sock with 2 tennis balls in it. But sometimes they can be really pivotal and get rid of some knots. One of the coolest toys I like for my neck, which I liked it for my calves as well, but I think my favorite toy is this Theracane again. Remember, you can get it on Amazon. It's Theracane. There's different versions of this, but I really like the Theracane the best. And you'll see why in a second. Because there's a lot of musculature up in your neck, and because we're all rounded shoulder, working behind desks most of the day, evil neck knots will occur in my upper trapezius, my levator scapula, which are all deep neck musculatures, all right throughout here, and in the front of my chest, in front of my shoulder. So you need spots. There's no tennis ball I can do. I can't manipulate my body to get a tennis ball to hit right on the top part of my neck. So that's why this kooky looking candy cane thing comes into play, because I just basically grip it, and I can now start poking around. You see that little head that's right here can start digging into all those little evil upper neck knots. Oh, there's an evil sucker for you. Once again, I'm kind of pushing down with my top hand and pushing out with my bottom hand. So I'm going like this and applying pressure right into a knot. You want to poke around on the upper edge of my shoulder blade. Oh, there's a nasty sucker. Hold that 20 or 30 seconds. The same rules apply. You want to find the spot, hold 20, 30 seconds, and then you move on. Like I said, I got some good spots down here already with the tennis balls, so I want to get up a little higher. So now I'm kind of right here on the upper section. This is a classic area. And once again, most people have an elevated left shoulder to compensate for an elevated right hip, so you're going to find some much more evil knots on the left side of your neck for most people. So you're going to go right here. Oh boy, there's a little sucker. Oh yeah. And if you look away, turn your head away, and you'll notice when you turn your head away, different knots poke around. You're going to be like, oh God. And these muscles are called your scalenes, your levator scapula, and your upper trapezius. All these knots are really nasty. So like this, so I'm going to face on view, I'm going to turn a little bit to the side, and oh God. Like this, I don't feel it at all, but as soon as I do that, oh boy. Some of the scalene muscles poke out more so I can isolate them better. So just know a little head turn can do wonders when you find that knot. And anybody who has neck pain, rotator cuff problems, any kind of irritation in the front of their shoulder, which is probably tendonitis in their bicep tendon, or supraspinatus, which is one of your rotator cuff issues, definitely release this area. You can also relieve your upper chest area with this as well. And you just basically dig in just like so. You're gonna have some evil little spots here. This is the long head of my bicep tendon right here, which a lot of people get from rounded shoulder syndrome. So a lot of irritation can happen here, so it's easy enough. And you can dig on in. You can also lean down into the ground and just lean my body into it. And oh yeah, I got a little sucker. It's twitching right now. I doubt if you can see that with this video. But now I'm just leaning in and the little sucker's releasing. And like I said, I'm holding it 20 or 30 seconds. It's a little strip right here, right in the front, and that's where a lot of classic people, it's called the long head of your bicep tendon. It's also the supraspinatus, which is one of your rotator cuff muscles. Very common to get irritated, so this is a common area to release. Can you do it with a tennis ball laying on your ground? I can show you a quick demo. You can, but it's a little weird, especially on a video, because you probably won't see much. But I'm basically placing the ball right in that little area I told you about. I'm laying down, and I'm just kind of rolling my shoulder around a little bit. If I move my arm out, the little things will open up. And oh Lord, there it is. You might be able to see that. So it's just right there. Like I said, the best thing to do is go, okay, I know I'm supposed to be in the front of my shoulder. I'm going to place it there. Just going to lay down. I'm going to roll my arm around a little, let my arm come out a little bit to the side. It will poke out, find the wet bad spot, hold 20 or 30 seconds. And then you're good. And remember, don't release the same spot more than once. That's it. One and done. And then just move, you can move up or down like an inch or so and then find some other evil spots. But like I said, pick one or two spots. Some things to do when releasing is bad. Sometimes people are going to start releasing things. Some people like just to roll. Like some people just get up here and they go, okay, I'm going to do a great little warm up. I'm just going to roll back and forth from my calf. Doop, 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 doop. It's not such a bad thing, especially as a warm up. But if you want to release the knot, that doesn't release a knot. That just kind of massages the muscle and gets it warmed up, which is good for pre-workout. But if you want to release a knot, which is really kind of the whole point of releasing, the best thing to do is find those tender spots and hold them for 20 to 30 seconds. If you release and you feel worse the next day, don't keep releasing it. You might get a little, this is almost kind of like, if you release something and you're a little stiff, like, oh, like I felt like I worked that muscle a little bit too hard, you can get a little sore from releasing. But if you feel more joint pain, stop. Use common sense. If it hurts, stop. Maybe you didn't quite do it right. Maybe you were actually on the area of irritation and you released the area of irritation and it just inflamed it more, which is very uncommon, but it can potentially happen. So use common sense. If it feels worse after you released it, don't keep doing it. But you can get a little sore from this. I'm not going to lie, especially with some of these evil knots in your quads and your calves. These areas are not going to like it because these knots have been around forever. So be smart. If it hurts more, stop, for God's sakes. And you can always get a more qualified professional to go into this more depth with you because you might be causing more harm than good. But for 99% of everybody, this is going to make a huge difference. And if you're in pain, you can get out of pain and maybe never have joint pain to begin with. Because these, like I said, over time, these little muscular knots create inflammatory conditions, which are going to create arthritis, bursitis, tendonitis. And the more that you work out, the more you push your body, the more likely that these little evil spots are going to come prevalent, and you'll start getting some pain in your knee. Plantar fasciitis, low back pain, shoulder, rotator cuff pain, long head of the bicep tendon pain. So this is a great little quick routine you can do just about anywhere. I know that took me a little bit longer than probably 5 or 10 minutes. But this is just because I had to explain it all. Once you start to know your spot, it's a great way to warm up. And if it's an exceptionally tough workout, it's a great way to cool down as well. And if you just want to do it like once or twice throughout the day, especially if you're at your office all day and your neck, you're like, oh my God, this Theracane, you can have this at your office. I know we've done this a few times when we've done demos. People buy it and everybody at the office steals it. They use it, everybody uses it. So it's a great tool to have because you can get to those spots yourself, because usually you have to have a massage therapist go in there and you have some other people, maybe your friends, they don't know what the hell they're doing. But this, you can go right to the spot. Like I said, rotate your head and you get all those other little spots. So great toys, different toys get into different spots. Get creative. Start with a softer surface, like a foam roll at first, and then you can go to a little bit more evil, a little bit, the smaller the surface area, the more it's going to penetrate than a tennis ball. Baseball, softball works well. PVC pipe, some people use lacrosse balls as well, which are really like these balls, but even worse because they're made of wood. But that should be it. If you need any more help, I'm always here to help. Take care now.